That brings to a close questions for oral answer today. I call on Government Order of the Day number 1.
Alcohol Reform Bill, committee stage continued.
I declare the House and Committee for further consideration of the Alcohol Reform Bill. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Apparently that's all fixed now.
Members, the House and Committee is resumed on the Alcohol Reform Bill. Members, before we resume the debate on the remaining parts of the Alcohol Reform Bill, I have a vote to correct. The results of the vote on the Minister's amendments to Part 3 set out on SOP number 137 were incorrectly announced as the ayes 112, the noes 8. The result is the ayes are 111, noes 8. The record will be corrected accordingly. Members, the question is that parts 6 to 10 and clauses 1 and 2 stand part. At 5:15, the debate will be interrupted and we will proceed to put the question. Because of the time that we have available, there would be about 27 calls, and I propose that a member have one call only, and if we have time at the end, that time would be given to those extra time, available calls would be given to those that have the SOPs that have been tabled. So I intend to move in that direction. And members, the question is that parts 6 to 10 and clauses 1 and 2 stand part. The Honourable Phil Goff.
Mr. Chairman, I want to speak on Supplementary Order Paper 122 in my name, and that's the supplementary order paper that requires that ready-to-drinks or alcopops be restricted to 5% alcohol content and no more than 1.5 standard drinks per container. Mr. Speaker, the reason for that's very clear. Alcopops have been found by every survey of problems with abuse of alcohol by young people to be a critical part in that abuse. They are marketed as if they're soft drinks. They are sweet tasting so that people can't actually taste the alcohol, and regrettably they are drunk as if they are soft drinks. And the result of that is that we have studies such as the Massey University study that says that people that are binge drinking, more than 8 drinks at one sitting, have doubled since 2004, and Professor Sally Caswell saying RTDs are the cause of that. We have another study done by Auckland University that says that ready-to-drinks make up 70% of the alcohol content consumed by young girls between the age of 14 and 17. Now, Mr. Chairman, this was a problem that was recognised by the former Minister of Justice, Simon Power, who introduced this bill. And Simon Power promised the House that he would restrict the alcohol content to 5% and no more than 1.5 drinks per container. And everybody in the House applauded that. Colin King from the National Party, for example, told his electorate that RTDs were the real cause of young people drinking in excess, and something needed to be done about that. And I've had conversations across the floor with a number of people who make that point. In fact, the government said, and I want to quote what the government said, Mr Chairman, the government is particularly concerned about RTDs with a high alcohol content and RTDs that are sold in large containers that have a high number of standard drinks. We are therefore targeting those aspects of RTDs which will mean RTDs will be a lower strength drink on a par with beer and will be prohibited from being sold in large containers, thereby reducing the risk of excessive consumption by young people. That is in the government's paper, its question and answer paper, at the time that the minister introduced this bill, and every National Party member thought that was a good idea. Now, the problem is, Mr Speaker, along came the liquor barons, the liquor industry, and they knocked on Mrs Collins' door. And they said to Mrs Collins, "This won't do. We're making good money out of this. You can't restrict that. It's not done. This is a free market and this is a product that's legal and you should back down." And to her shame, Mr Chairman, Judith Collins backed down. Mr Speaker, that's not simply shameful, that's actually gutless. Why listen to the liquor industry that has a commercial vested interest in this instead of listening to the people that have to pick up the pieces? The doctors, the nurses, the police, the liquor licensing inspectors. Judith Collins turned up at the Liquor Licensing Inspectors Conference and they told her, or they would have if she hadn't scuttled out early, what they thought about this. And the chairman of the Liquor Licence Inspectors said, "This is a major cause of young people drinking to excess and you need to act." The Alcohol Liquor Advisory Council said that the government needed to act. Everybody that looks at this problem in a rational way says the government needs to act, except one group, the liquor interests who make money out of that. Why is it that this minister will listen to the liquor industry but won't listen to the people who research and study and have to deal with this problem when they know that there should be a change made? My amendment is a moderate amendment. It doesn't ban RTDs, it restricts it to 5% to put them on a par with beer, just like the minister said he wanted to do. And it restricts the amount that can be drunk in one container. Those things would have a real and direct impact on binge drinking by young people. It makes sense, it's common sense, and the National Party members, when their minister said it, applauded it and got in behind him. And when their new minister said no, like sheep to the slaughter, they'll line up to go through the gate, and they will not exercise their own good judgment, but they will follow slavishly what their minister says. And I ask the National Party members of Parliament, have the courage in this House to vote according to what you believe. Have the courage to do the right thing in this House. We have not raised the drinking age. We should at least deal with this major cause, Mr Chairman. Mr Chairman.
Sue Moroney.
Thank you, Mr Chairman, and it is indeed